Hey guys, how's it going? Hope your day is going good. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this horizontal slider like this one here. And what I'm going to show you is how to make it is a reusable component. So this is a horizontal slider component that I made, right? And I'm just going to show you how to easily make or recreate this slider again, right? By giving it a folder name and a file name, right? So I have my assets folder here under my sources. So it contains two folders called pictures 1 and pictures 2, and each contain one picture each. So pictures 1 have pic 1 and pictures 2 has app logo, right? So I just made these two variables here, images and image 2, and images I was carrying pic image 1, right? And I did this multiple times so that I can have various items displayed like we have over here, right? And then I'll pass in the array with file name, and I'm able to get this slide here, right? So let me show you, right? So let me do this. So now let's say I want to create another one, right? I'll just do import or write the horizontal slider tag. Then I'm going to give it its folder name. So here I'll be displaying images in folder 2, pictures 2. So I'll say pictures 2. Okay. Then I'll do pass in the name of the images that I want, right? So images 2. Then if I save this, boom, it's right here, right? And another thing I can do is I can adjust the margin at the top, right? By just doing top equals to, I'll give it, let's say 100 pixels. Save. See? And I can also hopefully you can see this. Let me try and make it bigger. So I can also type in space between, so I can give it some space between them. So I can say 10 pixels, right? It makes them come closer together, right? So yes, that's how it's done. I can show you the code. So I have these 3 styled components here, or 4 of them actually. So the slider wrapper, you can adjust the top, the left side, adjust the width of the slider. Then you can also adjust the space, right? So as you can see here, right here, I passed in the prop space between. Then it takes in top left space between folder name, folder file name, and width. So the images, the file name are the images, right? And I map through the images, and I'll be printing out the images inside the item tag, right? And then display it here. And that's how I made this. So now we're going to dive into the code. So let's begin. So I'm going to begin by starting or creating a React app. So if you haven't downloaded npm or Node.js, you should do so by going to that website. So you could do so by going to their website, right? Download Node.js and download this one, the LTS, yeah, and download the one that best suits your operating system. And after that, you should be able to run this code, So npx, we do create React app. Then we would call it slider, if anything. Always call it an app. The basics. So I'm going to pause the video here because it's going to take a while for the app to get created, and then we'll continue. As you can see, we're done. If you open our YouTube app, right, you can see the source folder here, and if you run it, just run it by saying npm start. Oh, I have to cd into app. So it's loading up. Let's see. Starting the server. It's done successfully. Yeah. This is our React app. So to make sure that we know, I'm going to go like into the index.html. So make sure we know where we are at. So what we're doing, I'll just say horizontal slider. I'm gonna change the title to that. Right, and change this here. So I did that in the public index.html. Then so I'm going to open another one. I'll call this app. Right, then I'll open another directory, cd into YouTube, cd into app. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to install styled components. That's what we used here. If I open the app from the previous code that I wrote, so we're going to import styled components from npm, so we can be able to write components like this. Okay, so let me close that. Then if you go into our package.json, right, you can see the dependencies, but there are none here. So I'm going to do npm I styled components. We're going to wait for that to install, and it will be in package.json. That's why I had it open. And if you go, where is it? Scripts, yes, right here. Okay, so now we have that, and now we can write our code. So I'm going to go into our folder here, source folder. I'm going to create a component. I'm going to make a folder called components, and in that folder I'm going to have a file called horizontal, no space, horizontal slider .js. Okay, let's drag this down for a bit. Have this open here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all just make a function, export default function, horizontal slider. Now this should be a small l, right? And it's just going to return . let's say div probably says hello, right? Now let me make it this way instead. Hello. Set the paragraph tag. Save that. Then I'll go to app here. Then I'm going to erase everything here. Save it. Change this. Okay, save it. Then I think here, let me do this. Import React from React. Right. Then I'm just going to type in horizontal slider and it automatically imports. I'm going to save that. So it's imported from our component folder, right? Horizontal slider. Then we'll go here. As you can see, it says hello. Okay. So the first step is we go back here. Let's import styled from styled components. So we have the slider wrapper, right? It's going to be this equals to div. There is a styled. I want to give it a class, right? I'm going to have this actually side by side to make sure. Oh, that's the wrong one I want to open. Okay, I'm here. Open this one here. I want the wrong one, yes. Okay. Right. So attributes. So you don't get too distracted by that. Let me see. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna call it class. Give it a class name of slide wrapper. Right. Then we're going to have our styles here. So I did template literal, which is the first character before one on your keyboard, and then I'll just do margin top. I'll actually just copy and paste it. Right. So here we have the margin top, margin left 0, position is relative, width 100%, then the height is 300 pixels. Okay. Then the next one is going to be the slider. Const slider equals to styled div, then dot trash. So I'm gonna give it a class name slider, and I'll just copy and paste the rest of the CSS styling. So the position is absolute, the height is 100%, overflow hidden. I don't have to do that twice. I can just do this. Save, and then go to the next one, the next styled components, which is slider inner. So the inside of the slide, going to style.div. Yes, .div dot attributes. The attribute we're going to give us the class name. And the reason why I use styled components because it's easier to work with React, and you can, let me see, easily dynamically change the styles of the components. So copy and paste this one here. Oh, that's the wrapper over here. So display flex, the width is 100%, the height is 100%. Display flex twice. Okay. Padding is at the top and bottom is 0. Padding both sides is 40 pixels. Then position is relative. Okay, and then this one is the item. Style the div. Then I'm going to do attributes. Give it a class name. Call it item. And we save that. Oh wait, I'm not done. The template literal. Then just copy and paste. So the position is relative. Display flex. Align item center. Justify content center. Width height is 250 pixels. Height is 90 pixels. Then you can change the space between them. Right? The margin is initially 50 pixels. Left and right. And top and bottom is 0. So this doesn't need to be there. Okay. Then the border is what you see. The square to encompass the whole item. Right? 1 pixel, solid, black. So what's the error here? What's the error? It says div is not defined. Let's see line 23. So div is not defined. Oh, that's bad. Okay, let me save that. Warnings. Okay, so we're good now. Okay. So let's see what we have, right? So I'm just going to erase all this. I'm going to keep it in an empty tag. Then I'm going to do slider wrapper. Right? Oh, I don't even have to because everything is encompassed inside the wrapper. Right? Then the next is going to be the slider. Right? Then inside the slider inner. Then it's going to be the item inside. Okay. So this should look good, right? What happens if I save? Everything is good. Let's go back to app. Everything is good. Come back here. Boom. Right? Oh yes. I'm going to give this one the wrapper. I'm going to give it a border so you can see the whole thing. Save it. Okay, see? Boom. Well, there's only one item in here, right? Which is just this one. So if I wrong place, did this multiple times, okay, never mind, just leave it like that. If I save and I go, continue, right? So I'm going to erase that, and we're going to go into producing the images dynamically. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to start with, by defining some props. So we're going to have top. I don't think there. Yeah, so we'll have a top. We're going to edit the top of the slider. Able to move it to the left if we want to. Then the width. Right. Then space between. Yes, thank you. And what else? What other props again did I define? So we have top left with space between. Okay, that's how you pass prop to a start component. You have the $sign, then you put in the curly brackets, then you put in the callback function. Props equals to props.top. Then if that doesn't exist, we'll give it a 0. Okay, so now what else do we need again? Yeah, file name. So we need to get the images with the file name and folder name. I'll just say file names sound better actually. Save that. Okay, that looks good. So now close brackets, that's the function. Okay, so what we're going to do now. So we're going to define some variables, right? So the first one we're going to do is images. The images are going to be equal to the file names, right? If not, just get equals to an empty array. So the next one is going to be the folder that we're going to get the images from. Let me see if everything is okay. Yes, everything is good. So yes, so folder name is going to be that. If not, it's just going to be an empty string, right? Okay, so now we're going to have the last one, which is the list of that we're going to display, list of items. So list items, right? So I'm going to do images dot map, right? And then let me see something here. Okay, so we're going to have the file, right, and the index. So I'm going to put everything in a list, right? I'm going to give it a key. So anytime you list something in a React, you should always have a key, right? So it's going to take in the item, right? Change it like this, make it more. Okay, make it more readable. Okay, so the item is going to be images. So I'm going to write image tag. Okay, just making sure I'm doing the right thing. Source is equals to, oh sorry, yeah, src is equals to, then do this, then you say require, right? So I'm going to use temperate literal again. So anytime you want to use variables in a string in JavaScript, we use temperatures. So it goes together from the assets folder, right? Then it's going to be the $, curly brackets, the name of the folder, right? Slash the images or the image, right? So the file. You know, I think it's better if I call it image, right? Okay. Let's see if everything looks the same. Okay. So yes, we're going to give this some style. We're going to say style. We're going to say width is equals to 100%. Right? That's how you get it. But that, yeah. And the alt is just going to be gallery. Okay. Now this should have the style too. So I'll say style. Display none. No, sorry. Is it text decoration, right? Let me see. This list style none. Exactly. So the list style none. Text decoration is for anchor tags. Okay, exactly. So I think everything looks good here. We have our two variables, images folder. Then we're supposed to list this, right? So remove this. And I'm going to say lists tabs, right? That should work. Save it. Okay. What error was found? Cannot resolve the other assets. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. I'm passing a prop to item. So if you go to the item, you see this prop space between. So we're going to do it like this. So space between. Equals space between. Let me make sure that's the correct spelling. It is. Boom. Save that. Okay, yeah, we'll come back to you. So this should take in top. Should also take in left, and it should also take in width, right? So you can change the width. So this is the prop name, right? And this is the prop that's being passed from horizontal. The horizontal slider, right? So there's the prop name, and is what's being passed. The prop names are being passed from here. Okay, so just I need to pass again. I think that's all. There's nothing for. There's a slider. Okay, inner slider has nothing to. Okay, that's good. So we save it. So let me actually do this. Go back to our old code. I'll just copy this. Let's see if this is gonna work. So come into here and then paste it. Right, that's good. Okay, everything compiles successfully. Nothing is still going to show because we don't have any images passed. We haven't defined it yet. So I'm going to go into our app.js, and then we're going to, first of all, I would like to import use effects, because now I'm going to add some. Okay, I also need to have the buttons too, right? But we'll go one step at a time. So I'm going to add some listeners to this. I'm just going to say use effects, you know, for now it's an empty function. No, that's wrong. I'll make it empty, do that, but then I'm going to define this function. Let me do it like this. Function called is scroll, right? So, and it's going to call in scroll. So use effects is going to call this scroll function after the page is loaded. So use effects is used to sync things to your app after it's been rendered on the page. Okay, so now the first thing I'm going to do in scroll function is to be able to use our wheel of our mouse to move the images back and forth, right? So let me do this here. JS, make sure I have the right stuff. So okay, so now I'm going to get the slider, right? We're not going to do this by document dot query selector. All it's going to take this class name slider inner, right? This one here. Just past it, this one here, right? Okay, so we have this. Okay, that's good. So then, oh, I spelled slider wrong. Good. So we're going to do save. I can actually define this outside of the function, right? Are we still in app function? Yeah, I want to define this in the app. And also this should be in the app too. Like this. The use effect should be in the app also, not outside the app. Right, let's do some indentation. Okay, now we look good. Okay, so let's see. So the next step now is to, because we're going to have various slides on the page, right? So I'm going to just do slider dot for each, so that it loops through each variable that has, each element that has the class slider inner. And I'm going to give this slide, I'm just going to say slide dot add event listener. So the event listener, as I said, is going to add in the wheel of our mouse, right? And what we're going to do is, let me see here, yeah, it's going to make a callback function of the event. So the first thing we're going to do is prevent the default action of the wheel, then slide. So I'm going to target the parent element. So the parent element of slider inner is slider, this one here, right? And we're going to scroll left, no, not into view, scroll left, right, and E, then how did do here delta Y on the Y axis, right? Because the wheel is, it can scroll up and down. Okay, so I think that's why I'll leave that for now. Now let's save it Any issues? What's the warning? Webcard compound. Yeah, scroll function. Dependency. Yeah, it's an empty dependency. Okay, so now we're going to now pass in file name. Let me copy and paste this two arrays here. Put them up here. Right. Let them all be this one. Oh, they can be up here actually. So I'm going to say file name. So the file names, I call them file names. I'll say image. Which one? Images, right? The first one. Then the folder name is going to be, what was it again? The images one is for the first one. This is my YouTube, yes. So there's pictures one, right? Let's save that. Does that look okay? Yes, as you can see, I'm going left and right with my wheel, the wheel of my mouse. So just like that, we're able to make this horizontal slider component reusable. So now what am I going to do is that I'm going to do the buttons now, right? So you can be able to move back and forth with the buttons. Okay. So to continue where we stopped, we want to be able to move these images by clicking on the arrow keys beside at the end of each. No, sorry, at the end of each. No, at the end of the slides, right? So you can be able to move the images. So because come to Font Awesome, you should create an account with them. It's free. And then so you can be able to use icons, right, for free, or some of them are for free. So I'll just say, I said arrow, let me do next, right? So I want to use this, right? So I'll copy and paste it. Or before I even do that, I need to create the buttons first, right? So this is going to be button. Right, going to call this previous. No. Now let's do this like class name. It's previous. Then this is next. And I'm doing this in my horizontal slider. Right? Bring this down. Close this. Save this one. Okay, right. So next I copied it. So I think I lost it. So this is right here. I'm gonna copy, paste it. Then let's go back. We can write previous. Right. And then we'll just, oh, it's copied already. Okay, and I paste it here, and I save. Let's see if we see anything. Okay, see those two buttons there at the top? We don't see the icons, and that's because I need to use my kit. So when you download, when you sign up for Font Awesome, right? You would get a kit like this, the code. It allows you to use icons from Font Awesome. And how you do is to create new. I'm not creating it. Give it a name. No. So just click on it. Then I come here, copy the kit. Then I go to. This is YouTube, right? Yes. So I go to my index.html. and I just come and paste it in the header tag here. Save that, come back here and publish it at the top right there. So now let's style it. Okay, so I'm going to open, then we'll open it here. I'm going to open in YouTube, I'm going to open app.css so I can be able to use. I don't need any of these ones actually, so I'll just erase it. I'll leave text center like that. Okay, if I save, I don't think it's gonna change. No. Okay, so we have our buttons. So I'm going to just do this. So inside the slider wrapper, make sure that the spelling is the same. The worst part of debugging is if you see the spellers are wrong. Well, that's good. Okay, then I'm going to target the button inside the slider wrapper. And what do I want to do now? I'm going to give it a position absolute, right? Then I'm going to give it a width, no, a height actually, of let's say 100%. Then I'll make background color transparent, right? Yes. And then what else do I need to do? Maybe I'll say color black. No, it's already black already. And let's save it and see how it looks so far. Okay, so it's just in the middle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do slider wrapper. Then I'll just say button, and I'll just say pre. Yes, it's going to be on the left side, right? So I'm going to say left is equals to 0, right? Save that. I don't see it. Okay, so left. Yeah, left should be equals to 0. Okay. And then I'm going to do Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'm going to make this next. I'm going to do right is equal to 0. Let's see. Why is it not working? Oh my. Okay, let's look at the old code and see what's the difference. This is up the CSS. It's the exact same thing I wrote, wasn't it? Yes. But then what's the issue? Wait, hold on. I think that I'm in the wrong. I'm in YouTube. No, it should be in here. It should be here. Well, okay, let's go down here. Huh, okay. Let me remove this. Let's see. There's no border. Border none. Where's that button? That's button, yeah. I gave it a z index of 5, but would that matter? But let's see. Let's erase this. Save it. Aha. Yeah. Oh yeah, the z index do matter. Okay. So the z index is to bring it to the front. The value or the element that has the highest index would be brought to the front. And now it's in front. The next one. Okay, so I'm going to change this to let's say font size to rem 2 times the root, and which is 16, so 16 pixels times 2, which is 20. No, that's not the math. So I'm going to do border none. Then I'm going to have the cursor pointer on that and save it. Boom. See? So now it's to make it work, but let's finish with the styling. So I'm going to say I made it bigger. So I'm going to say slide wrapper button on hover, right? So I'm going to just say background color is equals to black, then opacity is going to be 30% like I did, and then this is going to be color white. Save that. So when you hover on the mouse, it looks like that, like that, like that. Good. So now what's the next step now to make those buttons work? So I'm going to do it here in app.js the same way we did it for this guys, right? So I'm going to say make two no, did I do it again? Let me see. So we're gonna make two variables, button, previous button and next button. Yes, okay, I remember. So I'm just gonna say btn pre, then I'm going to just say underscore. So we're going to do document the query selector, come on, all. I'm going to look for this one here, right? And we can copy and paste the same thing and just say next, right? Query selector next. And I'm going to do this, right? So for each, so btn that has previous, so we're going to go for each of them, right? I'm going to just say pre, then arrow function, then I'm going to say, so for each pre, how did I do it again? So okay, I made a variable called move. So we're going to move, then pre, then the parent elements. So now I'm going to find each button that has the pre class. I'm going to go and look for the parent element, which is the slide wrapper. Then I'm going to find in that wrapper the class slider, this one here, and then move it, right? So let's go back here. So down here, so I'm going to query select selector, and we're going to find slide R, right? Now go back to the top, let's move to the right, see everything looks good. So we're now going to now move it, right? So we're going to do move dot scroll left. I'm going to do -110, and you can play around with that number and see how you like it, but I prefer moving it by 110 every time you click the button. So it's supposed to add the event listener, right? Exactly. So it's supposed to add the event listener, on each button, right? So we're gonna do click. So when you click it, let's have this callback function that will do this, Exactly. Okay. So everything should be good. Then the next, I'm going to do it for BTN next. Right. Oh, yes. Thank you. For each, then let's do next. We're going to add an event listener. So we're going to say next. It's going to have add an event listener. That when you click on it, right, it will call this callback function. That's going to have the same thing here. So I have a variable called move. Our move is going to find the slider of that particular button, right, and then move it. So let's press save. Okay, there's one error. What's the error? So it says pre is not defined in app.js. How is pre not defined? Okay, yep, that's why. The risk of copying and pasting. Okay, so now that should be good. So image choose, never used, no problem. So let's go here and let's see. Oh, it works. So now we can use the buttons at each end or our mouse. Okay, so yeah, we can now try it with another one. No, let's just not copy and paste. Let's just do horizontal slider. I'll give it file names. So I'm going to pass in image to variable, then folder name. It's going to come from pictures too. And let's see, save that. Yeah, you have it right there at the bottom. Then we can give it. Okay, let's just cancel everything. Okay, save that. See, don't save. Keep good. Come here. Make sure it's saved already. Okay, it's saved. So we can see. Right, pictures too. Then we can now make this. Let's make this like this. Then top, to give it like last time 100 pixels. Save. Then compare the space between them. Come on. Space between them. Right, and say 10 15 pixels, and now they're closer together, and you can move this one too with the arrows, and that's it, folks. Here's how you make a horizontal slider component and make it reusable by passing any folder, any name, so far they're under the assets folder. And you can even change the code if you like. You can make it to be any folder, but I just made sure that it has to be under assets by hard coding it here. If anything, you can probably have something like this. Another variable, it can be parent folder, and then it will be changing as the user inputs the parent folder. So let me know what you think about this. I'm going to have the code uploaded to my GitHub so you can reference that. So that'll be all, folks. Thank you for watching.